What's up, guys? I'm Krystle Chats, and this is The Healthy Gossip, and I am here in the Comedy Pop-Up Studio, and this is episode 16, guys, and I'm super excited because the origin of this podcast started with myself sitting at this very table with a man's voice speaking back to me, and that voice is sitting right next to me now, and this is the Alex Conn.
What's up?
Yes. So we've had a fun journey. There's a few other on-air producers. I guess sometimes they're on air. So I guess they're just called
Sometimes
producers
they're
at one point.
just producing. Sometimes they're on air. Yeah.
See, I'm like, I thought I was the producer. Isn't like a producer? It's the person who like funds the podcast.
Yeah, we're the technical producer, I guess.
There's multiple producers.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Random thought.
Someone's got to produce the this whole portion while you produce the funds.
Cool. There's no director though in podcasts. You
No,
know?
I guess that would you're the director.
I'm the director. One producer.
That's
Okay.
a credit now. You're a podcast director. You're one of the first.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
I like it. So, guys, Alex and I were talking a little bit about marijuana before we hit record. And so he was talking about how he couldn't really tell the difference with flower when he smoked an indica or a sativa.
Well, I meant more like like when I smoke a hybrid that's dominant one side. If I smoke like a straight indica, I can really tell, but
Okay.
sativa's like usually what I smoke anyway, so it's just that's how it's supposed to feel.
Cool.
I call that sober, I guess.
Being your own sativa. Really? You know,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, I guess that's true. But for me, like, I don't know. It's maybe almost like taking an Adderall pill sometimes. Like you just, I'll never forget the time I smoked Jamaican lamb's bread, and I
Just
was
sounds so biblical.
it was Bob Marley's favorite strain, and I smoked it and I rearranged my whole apartment. I was like, the feng shui, totally off. We've got to fix this. I had one of my friends with me, and he was just like, okay. And honestly, it was the best thing I could have ever done. So Jamaican lamb's bread,
soldier.
but I will say, Buffalo soldier.
No woman, no cry. Not in this feng shui.
No, but seriously. So, but I will say I got a second batch of it, and honestly, I was just a little disappointed. So, okay, that's actually a great point. This is the cannabis portion of the Healthy Gossip today. You can get a strain and get it from somewhere else, and it's not going to be the same. It's not. We even get different batches. So I now work at Cookies on Melrose. Shout out. I should have one of my coworkers on with me
Yeah.
next episode. And
be fun.
well, it's funny because him and I really don't plan on speaking on this topic very much of the podcast. It kind of happened. And I'd actually like to talk to you about it as well. But before we go off onto that point, sativa, upper, head high. I mean, I've also been told that sometimes, I guess it's just complicated. Sometimes you can smoke an indica that doesn't make you sleepy, and then sometimes the point is, try the flower, which really is crappy because now with the new laws, the smallest amount you can buy is an eighth.
Really?
Yes, unless you buy a pre-roll.
Oh, the smallest amount, the minimum.
Yeah, no grams.
Corruption.
Yeah, it's sad, right?
Government corruption.
And it's
I
so
call it.
sad because people come in and they're like, "Well, can I mix and match my eighth?" And I have to say no. So yeah, I know, guys, but I have a feeling it'll change. It's gonna keep changing. I'm just happy that I can be one of the pioneers.
I think yeah, I don't know. It's I wrote this down because I was gonna get it back into it, but I've been thinking lately. This idea I've had a lot is the difference in because I've been hearing comics that keep saying, "Oh, they legalized mushrooms in Denver," and no, they decriminalized. And I think that's beautiful. Like, I think it's important to talk about the difference in legalization and decriminalization.
Would you like to explain it?
Yeah, well, decriminalization is going to be where they remove regulations that allow, Big Brother, the government. Sorry, I'm really anti-government. They allow people to put
Don't
you in
apologize.
cages. They allow people to put you in
Yeah.
cages. I mean, that's what jail is. Let's not sugarcoat it. When there's decriminalization of that, that means that people can act freely, and people won't be harmed for... or not harmed, but people won't be arrested or tried or anything for possession. And, I guess legalization talks about the way to legally distribute it because people who sell it can still be tried after in some like cases of decriminalization.
So I'm going to put it in layman's terms to see if I understood your explanation. Decriminalized is just, it's not legal, it's not illegal. If we catch you with it, just go about your way. But we're not going to have it on our shelves.
It's not against the law.
But we're not going to have it like on our grocery in our grocery stores or at our like pharmacies.
And if you decriminalize the commerce portion of it too, you like legalization is where you add rules to live by. They're creating boundaries, and one of those boundaries looks like a 35% usage tax, you know. And now one of the is it 35?
And it is so sad, guys, because I have to say, like, they'll be like, well, so how much is an eighth of this? And our eighths go anywhere from $25 to $60 before tax.
35?
25 to 60 for
60 for what?
An eighth.
$60.
And then after tax, it's 75, 50.
Oh, you're talking cash, not percentage.
Cash, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying like 30% to 60%. I was like, what are they taxing?
Like THC?
No, percent, like a tax percentage on the back end. But so
no, but still, to go from $60 to $75, is gnarly.
That's a chunk. That's a lot of money, and a lot of that comes from regulation, and it comes from a lot of boundaries that get set on businesses. Where now I have to jump through holes and pay all these different people to do all this different shit just to get the product onto my shelves.
I was playing poker last night, and this guy sitting next to me asked, well, if you know all the rules of the cannabis industry, why don't you just start your own shop?
You're like, because I don't have millions of dollars liquid, asshole. In Vegas, it recently legalized and dispensaries open, and I think the first licenses they gave out, it was like you had to have something like 750,000 liquid, like cash you could play with. Because like it pretty much
it's crazy.
It narrowed the business, and this is where I was going with it. And Vegas is a prime example. Legalization. I thought I was being super cool voting to legalize weed in Vegas. You know, like people say, "Who'd you vote for president?" In Vegas, you can vote none of the above. So I voted none of the above. But I did vote on Prop 1, which was weed, and I felt real good about it. And now their taxes are high there too. And it's what you actually do is you create a system where after it legalizes, then the people who make the rules come out and say, okay, we want it legalized. Within a year, we'll have the guidelines. You don't get to vote on the guidelines. So when the guidelines come out, the guidelines are set up to where you've got to be like, there are 10 people in a whole county who can qualify for this shit. And they're all sitting at a table together going, hey, how do we make it to where we can do it?
Yeah.
And then you take an industry and you make it a small, not a monopoly. I mean, but these groups, they drive each other. So then you're allowing corrupt politicians and corrupt businessmen to determine where, like, how much you have to spend for everything. Like, with the way technology is right now and like weed technology, you should be able to get an eighth for $25 all day long.
But this is my beef.
Okay.
This is the first time like it's recreational and medicinal, and I want to let you know that the medicinal people don't really catch a break. You can buy more. That's medicinal.
What you get. Well, and you get the crazier stuff, don't you?
No,
like the edibles.
There's nothing. No, yeah. If you go to a trap shop,
you hear that a lot. So, but as a layman, maybe you don't know this. I hear all the time. Oh, if you go to a trap shop,
you can get more. Okay, but wait. Let me finish really fast.
Yeah.
This is why it's a problem, though, because cannabis is a plant. We should be able to grow it in our backyards. Like, really? If you can literally go into a store and buy an ounce, you should be able to grow it in your backyard.
Especially in an environment like California.
Like, what?
Well, and have you seen those new indoor growers?
Oh, I'm obsessed.
Yeah. Anyway, keep going.
Leaf, so I think it's called Leaf.
The way the way technology
Someone get one for me.
Yeah, put it on a wish list. The way technology,
Patreon.
There you go. The way technology is, we should be able to get really cheap. So like I've heard, I haven't been. I've done a lot of research. I want to do like a backpacking trip to India, and I've heard that where you can get weed, it's just like here's a bag of it, like go away. Like it's not near as potent or as good as our weed, but like it's not treated like a controlled substance.
And if people were growing it in their backyards, not everyone's gonna have hydroponic. Nobody can afford to do that.
And not only that, but like, What, you can grow tomatoes to feed your family?
And here's the funny part about being able to grow your own. Once you smoke it, it doesn't just grow back overnight.
no.
Like, you act like we're gonna just be like, and
Yeah.
like just
If anything, you'd probably
abundance
get
of
more
plants.
conscience, like more like a higher conscience in consumership. Like people wouldn't like when you can just get eighths whenever you want an eighth without calling a dealer. You just got to walk into a business before 10 p.m. or whatever.
We open at 8 a.m. by the way.
Well, when do you close?
10 p.m.
Yeah, so you just gotta as long as you remember to get weed before, 10, you have access to it. So you're probably smoking a lot more. If you grew your own, you'd probably know a lot more about it. There'd probably be better quality, less chemical. It's just,
but let me be let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Okay.
Most people, even if we could, we wouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have he's more of a comedic hero. I won't say a name, but recently my buddy and we helped him kind of do some planting of weed plants and and he's doing it. He has a really dope setup with a bunch of pots on his balcony at his apartment. So if he can do it, you could do it. That's all I'm saying. We should. I can't, but we should.
Someone in my life has a tree on their patio.
Oh, yeah, that's the way. But either way,
Yeah.
that's what my rant is pretty much that legalization allows it to be controlled, decriminalization allows it to be free. That's how I look at it.
So you just want all of it just to be decriminalized and that's it?
Well, I just don't. Yeah, I mean, I think there has to. Like I don't know. There's a how do you get it out and I think in a world where people aren't really going after dealers, just say, hey man, call it a tax for farmers' purposes. It's a farming tax.
Yeah.
Well, however you take money from farmers can be the way you can easily take money from drug dealers.
Yeah.
So let's make it to where it's not a tax burden, but it's also not, it's not a crime. There are people. Like, we forget because we're in California, but there are people serving life in prison for having a bag of weed on them. Still, to this day.
I don't know about life.
Yeah, well, I'm sure in some places, absolutely, actually.
No? Okay,
If they have
intent
intent
the answer of that.
if they have intent to, if they have enough for what they would call intent to sell in super conservative areas, I bet you. I mean, they're using other charges. There's corrupt,
Right.
policing involved too, but I guarantee you, they're fine. There are people for the distribution of drugs that are things that you're only hurting yourself.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You get where I'm going.
No,
I
of
just
course.
think I like the idea of it not being regulated.
Yeah. I mean, the point of all of this, guys, is that it's still so wet and just loose, and there's no solid.
I guess this is more. I guess what I'm speaking to is there are a lot of places that are going to legalize in the next couple of years, and if any listeners are from there, just think about that. Think about in other places. There's a lot of corruption involved with the legalization of weed.
You know what's crazy is
so watch out for it.
I have a lot of customers who come into the store and they'll ask me about flying with because I'd say 50% of my customers
They want to travel.
are they're visiting from out of town. So it's so fascinating because so many people just know us through social media. And Burner is the head of Cookies. And
his name is Burner?
He's a rap artist.
I like it.
Mm-hmm. You should listen to
What's his
music.
track? What's his big track?
Maybe one day if this podcast gets big enough,
we're
I can
gonna
have
get
him.
Burner.
Yeah. I actually I didn't I wasn't with you. He turned down $1 billion deal. But the reason why is because they weren't going to pay him in cash. They're going to pay him in some stocks.
That's a weedy thing.
Yeah.
See, but where does that cash kind of thing come from? It comes from people having to, it's back to a legal thing. It's just
So, and okay, I was talking about flying with it, and honestly, so many of us just there's no solid answer. It's it's almost like fly at your own risk. Maybe check it. Maybe do it in your carry-on. It depends on what website. I literally Googled it to see the answer, and I got the answer from Forbes.
nice.
I'm like, well, according to Forbes, but according to LAX, I'm pretty sure they contradict each other. I need to look at the website one more time, or maybe there's certain parts.
Well, it's technically federally illegal. It's a federal crime because you're removing it from the state. Like it's
yeah, but
illegal.
if you're going from state to state,
That's a federal offense, I believe.
no, you can Google it. It's you're allowed to fly with an ounce. You can leave LAX up to an ounce.
And go where? But
Another legal.
But I
state,
guess
like to Vegas.
you have to go only to other legal places.
That's what
They're
I'm
probably
saying.
not gonna pay attention
It
though.
depends what website.
What's gonna
that you
happen
look
though is if you fly into Texas and then take Texas out to wherever, you know what I mean? Like it's those layovers that are gonna get people. Those good old boy.
They're not gonna check. They don't have time for that. There's nobody.
Yeah, I'll look up the legality later, but yeah.
yeah.
Well, what
okay.
I was saying before was the pens, the sativa pens, make me feel like I'm on crack.
So yeah, basically he said he feels the strain specifics more so when they're in a vape, and I don't like vaping because it gives me the smoker's cough. It's so harsh.
I have to use my inhaler when I use it.
Do you have asthma?
I have really bad allergies. Like from growing up, I have really bad allergies.
Interesting.
I thought I had asthma as a baby, but when I smoke flower, it's actually better. Weed is an expectorant, yeah. It like helps you cough things out of your lungs.
Weed?
I believe so. Maybe I just got fooled by a website, but here's a fun. Actually, I forgot about this. Fun fact. I'll have to send it to you. I wrote an article for a weed magazine about like breaking my personal stigma with weed.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
When I was a comic in Vegas, like some girl that like hung out where I hung out was like, "Oh, like you're an artist. Go like, you know, if you want to write this, you know, do it." So it was something to do.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to read that one day.
I'm gonna send it to you.
You still have it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, I know what happened was they edited the shit out of it and rewrote it in her voice, and I spent like 4 days writing this thing.
Dang.
And I like hit her up and was like, "If you don't put mine back," anyway, I'll send it to you. Yeah.
And speaking of which, oh my God, I forgot what I was about to say because it started with this morning. What happened to me this morning? Oh, because you were saying that you could still find the article. I literally had the most frantic morning because I could not find my passport. It was like I needed to turn it in for work, and it's funny because I looked in the place that I thought it was, and it was like covered by something. So I thought it wasn't in there, and I literally tore my whole entire apartment. I like looked through purses. I looked through everything. The point is, guys, I'm sorry if you're having a bad day. Oh, and today, the day that we're recording this is August 20th. It is my best friend Ashley McKay's birthday. I think this is releasing on the 26th. Happy Monday, everyone. I hope it's going well. And let's get into another portion of the podcast because that was a nice solid 20 minutes.
Ooh.
So, yes, portion one of the Healthy Gossip, minute 17, starts the next portion. And, okay, I don't know if I want to go into this order. I always have an agenda, but I'm just going to start talking and we'll see where it flows.
Cool.
So, I've kind of been off the radar a little bit on social media. Apologies to you and a couple other comedians who drove all the way out from LA to be a part of K Squared Open Mic, K2 Open Mic, hashtag K2 Open Mic. And it was a bust only due to the fact that I feel like it was partially my fault because I wasn't posting as much as I usually do on Instagram. Secondly, I didn't keep tabs on other accounts that post about it. And thirdly, there was 5 Fridays this month, so I feel like everyone just didn't realize that the 16th, I believe it was already the 3rd Friday. So again, I didn't make it a big deal. Thank God, because I was supposed to have a photographer.
Oh, nice.
And that would have been so sad because I just could have turned it in like headshots, but I wanted like K Squared shots.
Yeah.
It's such a great mic. So.
I had so much fun, yeah.
Well, thank you, because
Yeah.
even though like.
So even if it was like you call it a bust, I thought it was for a mic, I thought it was fun.
Okay. And you know what? I don't give myself enough credit. I'm an amazing host. If you don't go to my shows at the Ice House, well, Peter's shows, I'm the host. It's our show.
Yep. I agree with that.
And K Squared. They're both super fun. And like I would say, like statistically speaking, they're mostly successful.
Yeah.
So come out, support us. Unfortunately, I don't have any shows to plug that are going to be this week that this is released. But do you have any shows that you'd like to plug?
Yeah, I got a bunch. I'll pull it up in a second. I was gonna say just kudos to you, just because like as someone who produces shows, when you
There was like a nap.
yeah, I gotcha. when you like you've analyzed what you think is the issue and you're going to rectify it and see how it works and keep growing it. And that's like a fun part of the process too. That's almost part of the comedic process is learning how to
Right.
produce events better. So yeah,
Thank you.
I dig it. Yeah, what do I have? When's this coming out?
Next Monday.
Next
Or
month.
window today's Tuesday, so Monday.
26th.
Yes.
Yeah, I got Anchor Bar tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a Pomona on Wednesday and Covina on Thursday with Paul. And then on the first,
Where's Pomona?
Pomona and Covina are right next to each other in the Inland Empire, about
Okay.
an hour and a half east.
Okay.
Cool spots though. And then the free first of the month show with Austin Scott's show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sick.
Actually, oh yeah, we'll talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Good.
dude.
I love how
Yeah.
your calendar is booked that far out.
No, that's just to the first. That's
That's great.
That's 12 days. That's it. That's where it stops.
Okay. Well, I also, it's funny because like I'm not gonna look on my calendar and plug because I don't. Oh my God! I wasn't gonna plug. Sorry. I was like, Ice House, guys. Yeah, I was gonna be like, I don't have any shows to plug. Oh no, I definitely do.
Pasadena Ice House.
Yes, Ice House.
Peter Surs.
Is Peter
Yeah.
Surs, and I think that's the first time in our almost 8-year relationship that I have said his last name correctly. August 29th.
How do you say it?
Sirs.
Yeah, how do you say it?
Sars.
Oh, okay.
Guys, August 29th at the Ice House, Stage B. Probably, I think it's my favorite stage in LA, honestly.
The small one?
Well, I've never actually been inside the big room.
I haven't either.
I've been there enough times.
I went there for the first time like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, the small room's very cool. I like the layout. It's nice and on top of each other.
The reason, again, same scenario that I feel like our show that was technically the worst one that we did, it was so memorable and it was so fun. And I like had such a good time and I feel like all of my friends had a good time. So it's like what you like you said, I said K Squared was the best, but we had a great time.
Yeah.
As long as you need to love what you do, guys. And I think that's a huge part of and I did want to talk a little bit about that because we were going to talk about mental health and physical health in these next part. The 29th, guys. Okay, I'm done putting my calendar away. So mental health and physical health. And honestly, you got to have both because I feel like the people who are not mentally stable, who work out too much, they overexert themselves.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Like, or the people who are just tragically depressed, like are eating, like that makes you eat worse. So take care of yourself. Happy thoughts. Cause like I just had a realization with this talking about comedy. It's like, no, as long as you're just loving what you do, like, don't worry, like the blessings and your goals and everything that you are going after will all come into fruition.
I think a cool thing about mental and physical health and emotional health too is probably kind of falls in with mental health is they all are steps that if you just focus on one area, they kind of drag each other up. So it's like if you're having trouble with your physical goals and you work a little bit on, and you're like, it's hard to get out there and get the physical. But if you work a little bit on yourself and find a little bit of self-love and you take, and you kind of work on that other side a little too, it makes the physical portion a little easier. Like, and inversely, the physical portion releases endorphins, which make you happier.
And let's talk about that really quick. One of the coolest speeches I ever gave in college was about the types of love. And the whole topic of my speech was that self-love isn't a type of love. Are you gonna Google types of love?
No.
Will you Google types of love? Because like I'd like to just at least list the names of them because obviously there's like family love, romantic love,
types of liver failure. That's what it was looking for. Love language or just types of love?
Types of love.
Was it that one with the weird pyramid?
Like Eros and
agape.
Agape.
God,
yes, that's the one I was missing.
Gaping, yes. Eros.
Eros.
Philia.
What
you want me to say what they are?
No, what? Yeah, go ahead. Say
so
what they are.
Agape is unconditional love.
Okay.
Which is like a toddler to a mother. Like it says, first we have.
Just say the definition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eros, romantic love. Philia, affectionate love. Felucia. Fallujah, good old Fallujah. Self-love, I know.
Oh, self-love is listed.
Felucia, yeah, that's what I call it. Storage, which is familiar love, and pragma, which is enduring love.
Interesting. Okay, well, I think whenever I looked at it, it was like the love that you could have between like other human beings. What was the last two?
storge and pragma, familiar love and enduring love.
What's enduring love?
Enduring
like
love.
Enduring as in like you're accepting it?
Like you spend
Like you're drowning in it?
80 years with the same person, and on your deathbed you're holding their hand and you hate each other, but you're like, we endured this. That's what I hear. We've endured this. Look at what we've built together. Got a lot of angry kids. Sorry, this is middle American struggle.
That's so good. laugh.
Look what
Look what we endured together.
So enduring love. The ancient Greeks defined pragma as enduring love. In other words, it's almost the opposite of sexual love. Eros tends to burn out quickly, which is sexual love. Sexual love tends to burn out quickly because of its passion intensity. However, pragma is a love that has matured and developed over a long period of time.
That's deep.
Yeah. Storage.
So sit your partner down. Sit down with your partner and say, let's examine this relationship.
Let's figure out how we can endure this a little longer.
Yes.
Jesus.
Oh shit. Okay. The point. And good. Self-love, guys. So how do you do it? How do you get? You go first. Give an example of how to practice or like elevate your self-love.
How to elevate my self-love. So you want to know honestly what helps me? Is it sorry, that was Rachel texting me.
I got a text too that I'd like to read on air.
Oh, okay. Nice. Read it. Self-love. Like,
elevating self-love.
I've found that when I just make some conditions for myself and then I follow them, whatever the conditions are. Like recently I said I'm gonna quit smoking pens. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna smoke weed less than like twice a day, or like 2 times a day, before a workout and maybe at work in the evening time. And then drink more water. And then after I listened this is stupid, but after I listened to the Rogan podcast with who's that guy? Hotep Jesus.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Oh, he's just this like he's this very influential like speaker guy. But he's like he's big on like kind of like fiscal responsibility for the black community. He's a black dude, and he talks about kind of himself and how he is, his respect to like women and stuff. But I was like, all right, now I only masturbate in the evening. I don't jerk off when I wake up. That's my other new rule.
Wait, why?
It's just like he has his reasoning, but honestly, I don't remember. I was high listening to it, and I was like, sounds like a good idea. But it was also just a matter of like I set boundaries for myself, just stuff that was the only reason is it's a mental workout. It's hey, throughout the day, remember your limits, remember where you're at, and and it's also been like sugar control. I try to focus on that a lot too, which I'm terrible at. But
what about like romantically?
Self-love?
No, you just actually told us.
I rub my own back, before
let's say, okay. Do you mind if I talk about your personal life?
A little bit. I don't know what you know, but yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I mean,
go ahead.
Okay.
You're good. What you got?
It's the healthy gossip.
It's the healthy gossip, yeah.
All I wanted to say is that didn't you say on the podcast that you guys broke up?
I didn't. I kind of wasn't thinking about the fact that I said that until someone else was like, hey, sorry about that, I heard. And I was like, where'd you hear? And they're like,
no, they didn't.
Yeah, and they were like, the podcast. Yeah, the podcast. And I was like, thought they were talking about my podcast. And I was like, we don't talk about that shit on there. Which later on we actually kind of talked about it a little too, but yeah.
What is your podcast?
Cover to Cover. It's actually Chris Frangio's podcast, but I started as an on-air producer. But I think at this point, maybe co-host. I'm replaceable. I know I'm replaceable, but we have a cool Facebook page with a lot of fans on there, and a small chunk of them are like, I'm like the indie fan. Like if you're an indie Cover to Cover fan, you're like, oh, Alex is dope. But no.
I mean, I'm a fan of you on my podcast.
Thank you. Yeah. You know what?
I'm an Alex Conn.
Kudos to you, because people have said to me just around the comedy scene, they're like, hey, I like what you do on there. So that's cool. No one even knows what I do on mine, so it's cool. But yeah, so I mentioned it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
ask away.
I was just gonna say, now that you guys are in this working it out phase, like obviously let's say it doesn't go in your favor. Like obviously that brings you down energetically to a certain, so like how do you cheer yourself up? regardless, and the reason why I asked, and I knew it wasn't going to be like bad what I said, because like let's say it was in another relationship, or you're giving advice to a friend who's going through something in their romantic life, you know. So like, how do you have anything like tips on like I just feel like so many people have been depressed lately, myself included, to a certain level. And
I have a couple things on that actually, like addressing that. So one thing I like is everything positive, everything, no matter what it is, every single thing. Tell yourself, "Oh, I won that.
I won." A piece of paper.
Yeah, tell yourself, "I won that. I'm a winner. I won that."
Give an example.
So I mean, it can be like it should happen 100 times a day, and it's things that literally, like, if you told someone, if you were at the store and you're like, "Hey man, I won 20 minutes ago in my car because I didn't flip a lady off that I wanted to flip." Whatever it is, whatever whatever your thing is, you should have like 100 wins a day, and it builds like kind of a like you're a winner's complex. This is something that like motivational speakers talk about. And
I call it a gratuity list.
Yeah.
Wait, it's definitely not gratuity. A gratitude list?
Gratitude list. Gratuity. Give yourself tips. Yeah, it's both. It's both.
It's funny because someone said it's just a gratitude list, and I was like, I just insist on saying gratuity. It's so bad. Kind of like Bali. I'm like, it's Bali. And everyone's like, ew. And I'm like,
is it? What is it?
Bali. I'm like, they're like, don't say Bali.
Until I can afford to go, I don't worry about what to call it.
It was a great trip.
But no, so you call yourself a winner every day, and then you start to believe you're a winner. And when you walk into situations feeling like a winner, when you walk into situations with more confidence, it's very easy to succeed in those situations because other people see your confidence. And they, my best friend's dad says this, and I've stolen it. But whenever his dad used to like, I'm gonna kill this gnat. Whenever his dad would like, his dad would like take him into bars and shit when he was a kid, and he'd be like, "Oh, what do I do?" And his dad's like, "Just act like you got a mustache. Just act like you got a mustache." So that's what I say. Act like you got a mustache. If you walk around with positivity and confidence in yourself, other people aren't going to look at you. And actually, other people will believe you more. Other people will look at you. And so,
a mustache?
Yeah, do it like you got a mustache. Like you're a man. Be a man about it.
Well, that's a little sexist.
Well, you know what? Look, there are women with mustaches too. There are people who identify as women who have handlebars nicer than mine. So it's not a sexist thing. It's kind of sexist that you took it there. All I'm saying, look, and women with mustaches usually fight better than most men with mustaches.
Have you heard that don't say what is it? Oh my God, I hate that I can't think of it right away, but like when they say, "Oh, you have some balls," and it's like, no, you should say you have some vagina because those are the ones that can really take a beating.
Oh,
because balls are delicate. Like, what do you mean have some balls? Like, you'll tap those.
Do it like a vagina. Like you can stretch it out forever and ever and ever. Like you're a procrastinator. A vagina's a very procrastinator.
Do it like you have a vagina paired with a mustache.
You got a vagina mustache.
Ooh, handlebar pubic hair.
Yeah,
that's gonna take a lot of gel. Okay. Anyway,
I still, I make it happen.
Okay, my turn. Guess what? Mine actually has to do, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, and I'm going to repeat myself, but get enough freaking sleep.
Yeah.
Oh my God, get some sleep, guys. And listen, I don't ever recommend serotonin because I feel like, or melatonin. To keep your serotonin and dopamine levels at a normalized level. Sleep, man, I'm telling you guys, this is so important. I literally think that I need to be hospitalized sometimes when I don't have enough sleep. I'm like, I just feel so down and like I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit there and like, or if I'm like out living life because I have to, like if I'm at work and I'm sleep deprived, it just feels miserable. Like it's just you just feel sad. And I know a lot of you feel sad, so get some freaking sleep.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many people have sleeping problems.
Yeah.
So which is funny, ironically enough. Although I will say shout out to Peter because you seem happy, but then I read your tweets, bro. And I'm like,
damn. I'm not tweeting.
So I love you, Peter, but You definitely. Well, he's.
Well, it's
he's been,
poetry, maybe.
Oh no.
It's artistry.
I'm just saying. Well, no, because like my point is that and just because somebody seems happy, I know I'm one of those people. People are probably like, oh my God, Krystle, I would never think you're depressed. And it's not even. I always compare it to. This is going to be. Well, this might be a controversial statement, but I compare depression to levels of alcoholism. Like you can identify as an alcoholic, but not be the type of alcoholic that if you take a sip, you're going to end up in rehab. You can be like a wine mom and identify as an alcoholic, and you never like, again, started shooting up heroin, but you're still identifying as an alcoholic. Same thing with depression. Like I feel like some people are moderately depressed, and then other people are severely depressed, where it is debilitating. And I've never identified with that. Maybe one time in my life, and that was after like the worst thing that ever happened to me happened when I was a teenager. I've said it on the podcast when I lost my ex. But other than that, once I healed, it was never debilitating where I felt like I couldn't pick myself up off the bed. So, again, but you don't have to be that depressed to identify as being depressed, is my point. So then I think it's the same thing with alcoholism. So, with that being said, get some sleep, eat some food, man. I feel like that's another thing,
Vegetables.
too. Do you want to get into it?
Oh, we can talk about that, yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is part 3. What's our time looking like? 20 minutes?
We're at 20 left. Yeah, about 20 minutes left.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. 3 parts. We did good. Hey,
we're parting.
Sativa.
Hell yeah.
We have a message for you at the end of the show.
Yeah, we're.
Anyways, so food. Most of you know me as plant-based, which I think maybe for 3 months to a year of my life, I identified as like a hardcore animal rights vegan. But ever since the beginning of my plant-based journey, it has always been with the objective of health. It's never been, no, I take that back. It was 50% health, 50% animal
justice.
Animal rights. Because you have to take into consideration, like, so when I was a vegetarian for the first time, I got my iron levels checked, and the doctor's face was just like, like, you need to eat some, just have some iron, whether it had been supplements or whatever. So rather than looking at taking supplements, I just went right back to eating meat. Then I will say, when I went raw for the first time, did you ever know I was raw vegan? I think I said
Yeah, I've heard you talk about it.
When I was raw, though, I also got my iron levels checked, and they were like, we've never seen somebody with this kind of a test, because, like, it was, like...
High or low?
Perfect. I had, like, perfect scores. Like, they were like, wow. Like, and I won't say I was, like... So, the problem with the raw diet...
Were you juicing?
I was just eating raw. So, raw... Do you know, raw vegan is just... It's basically fruits, vegetables, nuts, and you can still drink, like, tea. It's 118 degrees. Nothing can be over 118 degrees because it's said that once it's past 118 degrees, the enzymes in the food die. So you can have like warm soup. So like if you have a Vitamix and I would make the most delicious. It's a very interesting lifestyle, but I will say the reason why I feel like it's not good for a long period of time. Excuse the sirens here.
There are stabbings a lot around here. Sorry.
So with there's a point at when you're on this diet that you've cleansed enough, because I'm telling you, it is like food in, food out. Like and in perfect shits. Like literally, I never had to like wipe more than once. I was like, oh, like I'm talking about you wake up, it just falls out of your butt, and then you go about your business.
Dude.
And you eat so little, because your body is so clean. Literally anything you eat, you just absorb it as energy. Like I literally woke up, I would drink green juice. I'd have like a salad.
Vegan.
Vegetables.
Could you do raw vegetarian?
Fruit. You could. So I used to work for the most brilliant raw food chef in the world, Giuliano Brotman. Like hands down, an alien, bro. Like his food, literally on his menu, it said, this is how like kings and queens should really eat. Like we eat like royalty, because like anybody I brought there, carnivore, omnivore, whatever, vegetarian. I don't care if you are Asian and eat rice and spam every day. The food there tastes bomb. It might hurt your stomach because
they didn't serve meat. It's a vegan, or it's all plant based.
So the only thing that they sold was raw cheese.
Okay,
an
what's raw
actual
cheese?
like basically just
like
cow
cream
cheese that has not been pasteurized.
So
That's
would that
all
be
raw
in like
means.
would that be in like a cream form, like a cream cheese, or like
I know, like hard
it's a
cheddar.
hard cheese?
There's like
Oh,
raw hard
okay.
cheddar. Like, you can buy it at Whole Foods. They still have it in the stores now. You can even
Yeah.
buy raw milk now at Erewhon. So I've had it. It's fine.
All right.
Like and so that's my point. The whole point of this little speech I'm giving is that I was really into the science behind it, and I bought my first raw food book. It was Raw Food Real World. Matthew Kinney and Sarma, the other girl, she's in jail now, I think, for like tax evasion.
Fuck yeah, dude.
But
Vegans, raw power.
I don't know, something about that book, like, you know, and it's so true though. Whenever you eat that way, like, and that was the first time I ever quit drinking because, and not because I'm an alcoholic, but because you literally can't drink when you're on that diet because, like, you will
It affects your body.
Well, yeah, I mean, and like. You could probably have one shot of vodka, and then okay, and then that's it. You're gonna be drunk, and it's gonna be it. But like, that's it. Like you literally, and if you get too drunk because, you know what that's what happens when you get drunk and you start eating like food that's bad, you get really sick. Like if you get drunk and you're like, fuck it, I'm gonna eat,
Yeah,
burgers.
it's gonna affect you a lot harder.
Do you want to take the video for Instagram right quick?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sometimes I get yelled at for not getting all the videos for Instagram
Okay,
on our page, so
let's do it. And
I try to be a good employee. I've been logged out.
quick break. Sorry, guys.
We're gonna take it and I'm gonna post it after.
Okay. So just a boomerang.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so to continue talking about that, so after a while, once your body is
We
that
can do it
clean,
after. Just remind me. We'll do it after.
okay.
Yeah.
I thought, oh yeah, no comment.
Okay.
I'll write it down and I'll tell you
All right.
when we start recording.
Cool.
Okay, so I hope you guys can't read that.
Yeah.
So, guys.
So you were telling me
so
before the show you want to go back to plant-based.
No.
Is that what you're saying? Or back
hold on,
to
wait.
vegan?
Let me finish that.
Okay,
Let me finish
sorry,
that thought. That's the point. Is that so? What happened when I was on that diet? You do become where it's almost like it's unsustainable, and like you just turn into like a. I don't know. You just. I didn't feel like you get sucked back into the normal world. Think about it. I was dating, and literally every guy I was like, well, I want to eat at this restaurant only because I don't want to go into. I don't even care if it's like. There's nowhere. Like even some vegan restaurants is like, they might have like one or two raw options. I only wanted to eat raw. And it was so weird. And like I literally I was an alien at that point.
Your body was hooked on it.
Well, because you honestly would get sick. If you eat like that, like you have to be very careful when you start introducing like processed
Other
food
stuff
back into
back
your
in?
body. Oh yeah, it's just like
Small
water
amounts?
fasting. Yeah, little by
Yeah.
little, just like anything else. And so so again, I slowly started going back to a normal. Like I think I started, of course, with just like vegan food, but that's the thing is I realized that I didn't know the science behind food and just a regular vegan diet, just straight up not like paying attention to macros, can generally be very fattening because you're just eating a bunch of carbohydrates and like microwave dinners or whatever it is that you're eating, or like pizza. Like today, I had to go run and get pizza because it would have taken too long to just sit down and slam a salad, I guess. But maybe not. Maybe that's it. I just need to pull the trigger and start. Okay, so
Tell yourself you're a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You deserve a salad, Krystle.
Yeah.
But again, when you're sleep deprived and you're stressed out, and I have the apartment that I have to go back to right now is like a terror. Oh my god,
What's going on?
it's just because I tore it apart looking for my passport.
Oh yeah.
And the plumbing. Oh my god, my plumbing in my building is so bad because it's so old, and like every 2 weeks I feel like something goes wrong, and I'm just. And again, but I'm a winner, and I deserve a salad and good sleep.
I concur.
Okay, so plant-based, and then I did dabble with the best, and I'm going to say this on record. When I felt like a freaking superhuman, like monster, where I was like, I could run a marathon, and I could do, if you guys Google what the fuck a Murph workout is,
Good old Murphy.
the workout that they do,
Dead veteran.
Veterans Day at CrossFit and other gyms around the world. I could do that easy. I'm all, here I go. Just okay, not with a weighted vest, but it's like that's the kind of shape I was in on the Paleo Diet.
Yeah. So the first like nutritional awakening I had was CrossFit when I was in like 19. And just like they were like, hey, with the first month, just try paleo. Like, why not? Like, a lot of people do it. It works for a lot of people. You're going to want results. Just try it. And I did. And in a month of your body just getting rid of sugar, because my big addiction is sugar. I fucking, I get that sugar. Donuts, forget it. So
the only time I've ever had like crackhead withdrawals to something was quitting sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've done it a few times.
And I feel like this is the kind of stuff I want to share on this podcast too. When I quit sugar, before I quit sugar, I never knew what a yeast infection was. I was like, what the fuck is a yeast infection? Like discharge? I'm like, everybody has discharge every once in a while. Like, what are you talking about? Like, because certain things that you eat do actually cause that.
Affect the pH in that body.
Yeah, so I was like, the yeast infection? I was like, are you women literally crying about a little discharge? Until I quit sugar. And I had my first yeast infection.
I prayed 5 times to that motherfucker.
It was like, I was living with my ex-boyfriend at the time. It was like embarrassing. I was like, I need to be in private so I can like itch my vag. Like that's how gnarly the yeast infection was because I quit sugar. But and before that, I'm telling you, like literally the shakes. How long did it last? Like the yeast infection.
I mean, just the whole sugar withdrawal process. But yeah, how long did yeast?
Honestly, like you have to do it slowly because I just remember like at night it would happen. It happened at night, and then the yeast would come in the dawn.
The yeast is like a Dracula.
I see it.
Just
yeast from the east.
Just comes and sucks the life. Yeah.
Bro, whoa. Like I'm telling you. This is so funny. I love it. Like I'm just like, dude, guys, just quit sugar. It's gonna come after you. So just prepare yourself for it. And then it was all of that shit eliminating from my body. And that's what I was gonna say. Oh my god, I love that I was able to circle around.
Circle it.
That is what happened when I was also on not so perfect raw vegan diet too, because I am a raw food chef, dessert master. Like I can make you the most. You like sugar, bro? My chocolate hazelnut cheesecake, raw vegan, is the best cheesecake I've ever had, and I made it. Like, and I love hazelnut. And
I dig hazelnut in my
but let me tell you this. You want to know how much it cost me to make that shit? Like, I'm pretty sure it cost me like $60 to make it.
Oh,
because I had to buy the macadamia nuts, the cacao.
I'm not that raw, you know.
That's what I'm saying. It's so expensive,
a hard life.
And everything has to be organic. Yeah, okay, it's a mess. So the point is,
paleo
guys,
though, very doable.
Okay, and then let's keep it going. So I then was able to beat that sugar addiction, and the first time you do it, like, so now when I quit sugar, it doesn't happen. Like I could quit sugar next week, and I know I'm like 90% sure that I wouldn't have another. It's that initial attack. We have to call this guy like some sort of villain, like because I'm pretty sure it would happen, and I'm pretty sure that's why most women probably couldn't do it because like the pain that you have to, it's just like I never knew like you could like itch like that. It was so bad. So
I knew you could itch like that, and it's bad. No, I didn't have a yeast infection, but I've quit sugar a few times, and it never lasts for more than 3-4 months. Like it's one of those things that like I realize in hindsight, I'm like, oh, I never quit it. Like I just stopped it for like I'm like an alcoholic. Like when people are like, oh, I've been sober 3 months, I'm like, nah, you'll be back. You'll be back. Tell me at a year. No, tell me at 5 years. Sobriety is like children. Until it's 12, I don't want to know about it, okay? Until it's doing something. Is it playing anything yet? Then fucking keep it. No. So, no, I've done it a few times, and it's like, it makes you like, quitting sugar would make me like an asshole. Like, I would go through withdrawal. I would be mean for like a month.
A month?
It's, like, it takes like, probably 24, 25 days for it to just get out of your system.
That's true. But I'm only like a real CONT the first 4 days.
CONT?
CONT.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you said you're only a cont on the 4 day.
See you.
Okay, anyway. So first 4 days?
Yeah, and then I start... A month? Damn, bro.
How long do you feel cravings for?
Yeast you got in there?
Oh, I'm yeasty. What kind of
but once but if I'm getting the right nutrients, and so the paleo diet, guys, the thing that was kind of my beef with it because it's actually very plant-based. You're eating so many vegetables, zucchini, squash, and salads on salads. You can't eat dairy. There's no dairy. And honestly, you really shouldn't be eating that much red meat. If anything, in my ideal one would
It's
just be a
only-
pescatarian paleo diet, but
Yeah.
that would be so expensive.
It's only high in protein if you're an athlete. If you're not an athlete, just a paleo diet is very easy. 4 ounces of meat and veggies. Like, it's not a
Yeah.
lot. You don't need a lot.
Right.
That's the other thing, too. It's like, it is like, whole foods are more expensive, but they're kind of not, too. And that, like, it's going to take me $15 worth of pizza to be full.
I need
but
you
like
to
$4 worth of broccoli. Sorry, go ahead.
I need you to say what you said about creating meat tissue.
Oh, I just think so. She was trying. I was gonna talk her out of trying. So, are you thinking about going plant-based again?
I am.
Like raw or just plant-based?
Both.
Vegan or vegetarian?
Vegan.
You're gonna go raw vegan again?
Okay, so
Damn, you going Hollywood fast? Either no.
Well,
I'm gonna talk you out of it.
okay, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk you out of it. So, first we'll address 50% of the problem is your worry of animal rights, right?
Mm-hmm.
First off, food chain. We're up it. We're here, dog.
Everyone
We
says
earn
that,
this. We earn this. But no.
But we're
really.
so intelligent. And then, have you ever had a freaking?
I mean, no one's
bur-
making
Del
dolphin
Taco.
steaks. No one's making dolphin
I know.
steaks. It's not like the smart
But
animals are getting
cows-
eaten.
They are
But-
smart.
But no. So
Oh no.
what I was gonna say is,
I want to redo this podcast.
no. What I was gonna say is as far as like you talk about animals, they're gonna at some point like. First off, there just aren't enough animals for a rising population. They're going to start cloning tissue, animal tissue. It's going to be higher in protein. It's going to be healthier for you. It's going to be, by the time they master it, it's going to get cheaper. It's going to be expensive at first, and it'll get cheaper and
Well,
cheaper
even
and cheaper.
right now, like you can get the Beyond Meat at Del Taco, and they're serving the Impossible Burger everywhere, and it's at fast food restaurants.
What is it?
now.
It's plant-based? Is it
Yeah.
like bean-based?
Or it's like soy. I'm sure it's soy.
Yeah, but soy's not good for you.
Why?
I don't know.
Uh,
Why? Estrogen, yeah. I mean, like,
Estrogen,
whenever...
yeah. You know what? You know, it was just one
In,
study.
in athletic, well, I'll tell you what. In athletic community, and isn't soy really like? So, don't
Okay,
you have a
this is what-
high
if they're gonna-
inflammatory response to soy?
I want meat to be illegal, and then like every family
You
just
want
gets
meat to be illegal.
Yeah, just every
But you
family.
you got to decriminalize vegetables. We talked about this. You got to decriminalize vegetables. You got to win the hearts and minds. You can't make it illegal to eat meat. Then what? Then what happens?
Go to jail.
Yeah, but then what happens to society?
Bye.
They go, all right,
I'm
well,
just- yeah, I'm
cool.
just kidding. No, I mean, okay, so again, and that's why I'm kind of why I think I got away from the vegan community anyways, because I've also never been one of those people who were like, I wasn't fighting for the animals. Like, oh, like it's just so terrible. It's the same way I feel about religion. I don't care if you're not a Catholic. You know, I've never cared. I don't care if, you know, you're an atheist even. Like, good for you. Like, that's your life and you live it. So it's like, if you aren't woke, you know, and you've never felt bad about eating animals, then God bless you, you know? Like, but I feel like there is something creepy about it just, like, being okay for me to eat something that I would pet or, like, that was when somebody's rule. They're like, I don't eat animals I can cuddle. And I'm like, ooh, that's deep.
Well, you can't cuddle an elk. It's gonna fuck you up. It's gonna kick you in the face
Honestly,
and break your neck.
And
so,
bro, like I've said this, I believe I've said this on the podcast. If I haven't, it's worth repeating. The craziest thing I've ever had to eat was raw bison liver.
I believe it.
And I went to CrossFit after that, and I was
You're like
a
doing
beast.
backflips, muscle
Like,
ups.
I think that was one of the days I was beating the coaches, dude. It was like we had to do a kettlebell carries, and I was on, and you know, and I know that's also why we have
But
evolved.
how much was it?
It helped. My ex
Was it
bought it
$20
online.
a pound
Oh,
or
for
something?
sure.
Yeah.
And that's another thing that sucks about it is like it's just. And that's why I was talking about trying to call myself something like the unhappy vegan, because like I know aesthetically what a paleo diet can do for my body. Like if I got on paleo, like I'd walk around naked all the time because I just get ripped and I don't even have to work out. I could do like 10 squats every morning and 10 push-ups and just eat the paleo diet, and I would be like a genetic beast, just freaking shredded. But guess what? I haven't been disciplined to do that. And B, I have this vegan guilt. It's like a religion. It's literally a religion or a gang that you join, and it's just like I can't. It's the how you feel inside your head. Like you just look down and you're just like, oh, what am I doing? It's like an alcoholic having a drink.
It's like religious guilt. But then think about what religions do. Like, that guilt is currency.
But
to
that's
them.
what's crazy is that a lot of the times when people fight religions, they say, well, you can't see God, but it's like you can see the animals, you know?
Yeah, which is good because if you're gonna kill them and eat them, you're gonna want to see them. You know, it's gonna. No, I agree with you entirely on like the privatized like farming industry ad gag laws where you can't show. Do you know about these ad gag laws?
Oh yes,
agriculture,
that's
whatever.
so fucked up. You heard about it on Joe Rogan, didn't you?
I mean, I've heard about it a lot, but probably on there. I mean,
I heard about it on Joe Rogan. So God bless you, Joe, for letting.
I don't listen to a ton of Rogan. I mean, anymore. I probably heard about it for the first time when I was younger, listening to his podcast, like a long time ago.
Right.
But it's illegal to take footage inside factory farms, like they're because they know what they're doing is unethical. So I agree. We do need to bring some form of ethics back into the world of eating, and into our, because I mean it's an industry. It's the food is an industry here at this point. It's like anything else. It's like I look at it and I say you can't just like, what are you gonna take all this away? Like we can't just like, I feel like we've already bitten off more than we can chew with the whole farming thing. So it's factory farming thing. So it's I feel like the walk is to get people back onto that ethical, more localized, find your food locally.
Yeah, well, that's another thing though, because that's also what's it would cause like crime if like, oh, like you can't get meat, easily, and because first of all, people don't have enough land to do that.
Dude,
so
well, and think about this though,
start stealing people's cows, and it would just be weird.
Being a meat-rich country has led to like the average size of a person. Like if you look at the average size of what was it like?
A Texan?
You goddamn real man.
From Dallas.
From Dallas.
Oh, I thought you were talking about obese-wise.
No, I'm talking about like back in the day, people were much smaller. People were like 5'6", 5'5", 130 pounds. Like that was like a full-grown man. So we're like way bigger now than we used to be. So at some point,
taking up too much room.
Well, we need an amount of food to sustain who we are, and we can't. I don't think there's a way to get it. I don't know.
Well, I don't think we need to be this big. I think it's silly.
No, but
Let's
I mean,
just
like,
go back to being little people.
But I mean, how do you?
Wouldn't that be funny to imagine?
Yeah, but how do you? But it's not good because think about this: you evolve into something bigger. Like genetically, we've evolved into what we are now. What happens if we devolve? You know what I mean? What happens if we get smaller? I don't know.
We probably are. I think so. I talked to some.
Oh yeah,
stupid
the alien kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna get rid of reproductive organs and.
Oh yeah, what book
diversity?
Is that again? I wish my memory wasn't so shot. But I actually there's a book that I was this time I went back to college and I forgot. That's what they want to do. Take away our reproductive organs.
Oh,
and then they can only like pick who reproduces. I cannot believe. I almost like want to.
I'm sure Rogan's talked about this whole thing too a lot, where it's like once people start having test tube babies, sex is only going to be something we do for pleasure. And how far along down the line until like people are like, well, it really serves no purpose anymore. Let's just quit putting dicks on people. And then next thing you know, the new generation of people, they're just all being born in a test tube.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that's a thing that's kind of like when you see the little alien, how he's like tiny and frail and gray, and they're all the same color, and they have the big head and the small bodies. That's kind of where that thought comes from. That like we'll just wither away into just being something that fits around a brain, And so maybe it will happen. Maybe we're getting smaller.
You guys.
But in this lifetime, you still got a dick. You got to use it. You got to eat meat.
In this lifetime, though, I realize that this whole time I hated it. I'm like, because again, I'm doing it for vanity, like, and also I can't afford the raw vegan diet.
Hey man, living in LA, I can't afford to eat, so I get it. I'm having trouble having meals. But no, not really. I'm joking.
No,
but
you're not.
no, I kind of am though.
Okay, good.
But
I kind of am though.
I kind of am, but I'm not. But I kind of am. Like high quality foods are expensive out here. And
No, you're right. No. That I agree with, because if you're eating ramen noodles, bro, I don't know if that counts as eating. You eating, but you ain't eating.
Yeah, you're eating, but there's
Then
no
you're right,
sustenance
though. Actually,
there. There's
sometimes
no
I
minerals.
can't afford to eat because I'm
Yeah.
just like, do I want to get my lashes done?
Well,
Or do I want to eat a salad?
I guess I imply it because I know it. And we're about out of time. There's a whole nother conversation to go down. But I live in my car, so I don't have a kitchen. So for me, yeah, like eating whole food is gonna be like, if I'm gonna eat a whole meal 3 times a day, it's gonna be like a $60 day, you know. So
Right.
yeah, but I'm not starving to death. I'm fine.
Yeah, you look great.
Yeah.
And until you start losing some mass, so we're not going to worry about this savage carnivore to my right. And guys, yes. So cool. I'm so glad I was able to actually articulate how I've always felt about a lot of things. And I will say, though,
You were articulating well.
and the only time, thank you. The only time I've ever really pushed it on people, when it was never, unfortunately, it was a little bit about the animals, but a lot of it was just trying to find the perfect human diet. That'll be my last little bit. Go watch The Perfect Human Diet. Unfortunately, it is not a plant-based diet. It is basically the paleo diet. Sorry. But again, it's science. I'm just going to get soft and eat a bunch of carbs now, guys, and be
So good.
the angry vegan, the unhappy vegan, plant-based girl. Alex, it was such a pleasure having you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
That was dope. You want to tell them my secret?
Yeah, so we were debating if we were gonna get high or not before this, and I was like, I don't know, I might, like, if we're both high, we might not be able to wrangle it in, but
And honestly,
we had a full circle moment. Whoa, you only get full circle moments like 1 in every 3 podcasts, you know. So not you, but just people. So
this is sorry guys, but this is probably my favorite episode.
Dude. You know what? This is my favorite episode of your podcast too.
Dope. See you next week, guys.